There it is.
Royal Roundup.
Better late than never. Talking of which, Rupert, there you are. Are you there, Rupert?
Yeah, good morning. I was promised they'd get rid of that photograph by the team behind the glass, and yet they've been wicked enough to maintain that sort of bucolic photograph of mine.
Well, it does look like you've enjoyed a couple of glasses of red wine. Let me just tell you that.
Well, I'm afraid that's not far from the truth. I am partial to the odd glass of red wine, but anyway.
But not in the morning, obviously, surely.
Not in the morning. No. Coffee in the morning.
No,
anyway,
very good. So lots going on. Let's talk about some royal stories. Of course, the coronation coming up. Actually, it's actually quite soon, isn't it?
May the 6th. So how many weeks is that? But 10, 12 weeks, something like that. So it's not that far away. I suppose we're now getting to the details are coming out of what kind of service were you expecting. But it appears Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber is busily composing something for part of the music. His music will be using the words of Psalm 98, which I can't quote to you directly, but it will be music to that, so it will be one of the centerpieces. We'll see singers from around the world brought. Also, there will be a very Welsh flavour to it, and bearing in mind how long he was the Prince of Wales. Bryn Terfel, I think, has been booked to sing. It seems they're easier to get the sopranos and tenors than it is for the concert, because we're hearing that Ed Sheeran and Adele have said no to turning up at Windsor Castle on the Sunday for the concert. I think they're claiming they're booked elsewhere. Now, Adele's programme is probably well mapped out, as is Ed Sheeran, so there may be logistical complications, but obviously they wanted, and the King is keen at this concert to sort of try show off the best of British music, and clearly Adele and Ed Sheeran are the A-listers that would have given it a real touch of stardust. I'm sure there'll be plenty of good other acts, but clearly if that is the case, that Adele and Ed Sheeran aren't turning up, and that's what they're saying, it may be there's still negotiations going on behind the scenes, but that is obviously something that may be missing from the Windsor Castle concert on the Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, that's really interesting, actually, just in terms of... I mean, I don't suppose you'd think about it that way round. Obviously, the coronation is the coronation. You wouldn't really think, are Adele and Ed Sheeran free before I book the coronation?
Yeah, well, I mean, people may view her the Queen of Pop and that she should be crowned, but the fact of the matter is that, opera singers can suddenly find, their diaries booked up for the next 2 years, and other sort of top artists will always, you struggle, but, sometimes you can find a way. But if she's appearing in America, there just may be logistical issues. And bearing in mind, Adele, has had her own issues about pulling out of concerts and that run in Las Vegas. She's probably very mindful of just making sure that there isn't a fallout from already events that have been booked, because there was from her time when she pulled out of her residency initially in Las Vegas.
I remember very well. Now, the big question, and there's a big article in the Telegraph this morning about this, about Harry and Meghan. Yes, yet again, making the headlines. Will they or won't they?
Well, I'm afraid this is the endless debate. Now, clearly, Harry and Meghan have been in the news again this week because of their, the parody on South Park. But this debate about the coronation is now...
just tell us about the parody on South Park. I saw it, actually, very quickly.
Well, basically, there was people, obviously, the Prince and Princess of Canada came onto a chat show. Basically, they didn't want privacy. The book was called Where? Basically, it was a lampooning. And South Park have lampooned other members of the royal family over the years, and in some cases, not in very flattering ways. Wills and Kate got the South Park treatment a few years ago. So it's not uncharted territory, but clearly it's not what Meghan and Harry would like when they're trying to create a positive vibe, being lampooned in such a fashion. But the interesting thing is now is, what do they do about the coronation? Yes. And Harry doesn't know what sort of reception he's get. Is he damned if he does, damned if he doesn't? And, so that's the conundrum of his own doing. We must bear in mind. He's created it by the book and everything that he's said that has broken down the trust between him and the royal family. The king wants him there, but will it be convenient that it's Archie's birthday, so that might avoid Meghan having to come in? to the coronation, and that Harry makes a flying visit. So there's going to be all sorts of discussions. The king wants him there. He wants his family around him. But clearly, other members of the royal family and maybe other people within the royal house feel that, you know, he will be a distraction from what should be a celebration.
Yeah, and there was... so in this article in the Telegraph, it said this morning that actually it's complicated. As you say, it's Archie's birthday. Actually, underpinning this, I think, and it alludes to this in the article, saying... Harry has no idea what sort of reception he will get from the British public. I don't think anyone knows.
No, and least of all him, because when's he been here? It's difficult because there will be Harry supporters out there. And of course, but I think the majority are tired of his moaning, you know, and want him to just get on with the rest of his life instead of taking it a pop at an institution that he's quite clearly doesn't want to be part of. And if he wants to get on with it, just get on with it, rather than endlessly moaning about the way he was treated, his truth, as he would describe it. So that's the problem. The trust has been broken down, and he doesn't know whether he will get booed if he turns up, and when really all you want to hear for the coronation is cheers. Now, not everybody, as we've seen, the king saw some demonstrations. Some Republicans were demonstrating at one of his visits earlier this week. So it's not that everybody is universally pleased there is a monarchy, but the majority of this country still see it as the only institution. And, you know, we're not going to be replacing it anytime soon. There are far more important things that need to be resolved, rather than whether we have a head of state who is a king that we've had since, well, such a long time anyway, 1066 and even before that.
And because you have such inside knowledge, finally, do you think Harry will come?
I think I'm as confused as Harry, the royal household. The king would like him. I think that is the best piece of fence sitting that I can offer you as my and finally. I haven't got a clue. And I'm not going to pretend I know that I've got the inside track. The invitations are going out this week to, I think, a lot of the peers who will be allowed to go. And I mean, I was talking to a friend of mine who is a peer. He won't be going, but he remembers sitting on with his father, an especially constructed stand outside Westminster Abbey, and 2 seats down for him was Noel Coward.
Wow.
And, you know, so he just still remembers that day as if it was yesterday. Anyway, I digress. But
you do.
This particular period
I have to go.
I have to go too.
Oh, right, OK. Well, jolly good. We both have to go. Rupert, thank you very much indeed. That was Rupert Bell's Royal Roundup.